In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a really awesome text stroke animation inside of Adobe After Effects. So let's get into it. So once you're inside of Adobe After Effects and you have a brand new composition created, we're first just going to begin by creating some new titles or some new text. And in order to do that, we want to go up into the T icon, type anywhere in your composition and type out a word or phrase of your choice. Now, once you've created your text, you want to go over into the character window and change this to a font of your choice. I'm going to go for Monsterrat Extra Bold Italic in my example. Then feel free to increase the size of this. You can adjust all of these other settings, and then we'll turn on the proportional grid and we'll just center this up in the middle of our composition. Now, I must stress that you have to be happy with the text before we carry on. So you can't change your font halfway through the process because we're creating a mask or a shape from our font. So we can't go ahead and change this later on. So make sure you're super happy with the font that you're using. And then once you're happy, we'll carry on. So carrying on, we're going to go onto the text layer. We'll right click, go down to create, and we'll select create shapes from text. And that will automatically turn off the text layer. Now we'll go into this text. So we've got text outline, so Brooker outlines. You've got contents, and then you've got transform. But we're going to go up to the top bar, and you can see we've got fill and stroke. So I'm just going to turn the fill off. Then I'm going to go over to stroke, select the word stroke. We'll give that a solid color. Press OK. We'll change the color of this if you wanted to. And then we'll increase the width of this stroke up to around 20, 25, somewhere around there. Now from here, we'll go into that text layer. We'll go add, select that little arrow next to the add, go down to trim paths, and we'll go into trim paths. Then we'll pull the end down to 0%. And as you can see, that's animated off. We'll go roughly to the beginning, create a brand new keyframe on the end, move across and pull that up to 100%. And now when we play this back, you can see we've got this really awesome stroke animation happening. Of course, I'm going to take that one step further, and I'm just going to convert the animation on these keyframes from linear to easy ease. So to do that, just highlight both, right click one of them, go to keyframe assistant and select easy ease. And now you can see that is what this looks like. It just looks a little bit nicer. Now, as you can see, the stroke is animating on every single letter at the same time. So if you wanted to separate the characters a little bit and add some position animation, then you can do that. So let's go to the end keyframe on the trim paths. We'll go into all of these text layers, so highlight all of those, press the drop down arrow to open them all. We'll go into transform and create a brand new keyframe on position. So we'll go into transform on each layer, make sure that position keyframe is there. So it's looking good so far. You've got a brand new keyframe on each layer. Transform position, transform position. Cool. So now we'll go back to the very beginning. We'll deselect that. So make sure nothing is selected. Then we'll go up into the first letter. So you've got B. So go into the transform and we'll move the position up. Then we'll go down to R, and you can see you've got position here, and we'll move this one down. Then we'll move down. We've got our first O. So I'm just going to pull that one down as well. Then we've got our second O. I'm just going to pull this up and to the right a little bit. Then we'll go down to the K. We'll move the position down and to the right. Then we'll go down to E. We'll pull this one up and to the right a little. Then you've got the R. So we're just going to move this over to the right. And now when we play this back, you can see they're all just going to drift back into the center. And that looks a lot more dynamic already. Of course, as well, you can convert all of these keyframes into your easy ease keyframes. So highlight everything. So highlight all of those keyframes, or right click on one, keyframe assistant, and select easy ease. And now you can see this looks really nice. Of course, if you wanted to slow this down, by the way, then just highlight all of those end keyframes and just budge those over to the right, and that will slow that down. So if you increase the gap, it will slow the animation, but if you decrease the gap, it will speed it up. Now, before we carry on with this video, I'm first just going to take a quick break to talk about the Brooker Films courses. And in particular, I want to mention the After Effects course. Over on Skillshare, I have a 2-hour plus Adobe After Effects course, which covers everything from importing your footage to creating new shapes, masking, green screening, rotoscoping. It covers everything you could ever need when you're first getting started into Adobe After Effects. So if you're new to After Effects or you're just trying to brush up on some new skills, then click the link in the description below to check out the course. Now, back to the video. Now from here, you can see we've got our text layer underneath. So if we turn this on, you can see it's just going to fill that, because if we solo it, this is just our original text. So we're going to get through to the point where the text finally sits in its resting position. We'll go into the transform of this bottom text layer, pull the opacity down, and then we'll just move over and pull this up to 100%. So this fades from 0 to 100. There we go, that looks really cool. Of course though, you don't have to animate the opacity to go up. If you'd rather, we'll turn the opacity off, so we'll get rid of that keyframe. If you'd rather, you can actually create a mask. So let's draw a mask around this text layer, like this. Then we'll go into masks, mask 1, create a brand new keyframe on the mask path. We'll move over to the left to the point where it's just starting to fall into position. And then we'll move this mask down off screen. And now when we play this back, you can see that's just going to animate up like this. Of course as well, you don't have to just go for that straight line up. If you would rather, you could actually create some curves. So in order to create a curve, you just hold down on that mask with the pen tool selected and just drag it in a direction, and that will create a curve. So just create a few curved points. There we go. And now you just want to make sure that that first mask is just underneath the text. And now when we play this back, you can see you've got this really cool liquid effect happening, which looks really cool. So when we play this back from the very beginning, you can see you've got the stroke animating on, the position is animating on, and then that liquid text comes up as well. And there you go. All you have to do to take this to the next level is to just go into layer, new, null object, select both of those layers and link them to the null object with this parent and link tool, this pick whip tool. Then we'll just go into transform. We'll create a brand new keyframe on scale towards the end of the animation. We'll go back to the beginning and we'll pull this down. And now when we play this back, you can see that's just going to animate in on the scale as well as everything else that is happening. So this, you can see, is starting to look really dynamic. Of course as well, because the stroke layer and the fill layer are now separate, you can actually change the color of the text at the bottom. So if we go into character over here, you can change this from white to a different color. So let's go for a nice blue. There you go. You can see you've got this really cool stroke effect happening, and then the fill color is now separate to the stroke. It's completely up to you though, so feel free to be creative, play around with that effect, but that is how you create this really awesome stroke animation inside of Adobe After Effects. So thank you ever so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate your support, and hopefully I will see you on the next video. See you there.